What's up everybody, how's it going? Today we're working on the Lexus once again. My boy Ian is here. We're gonna eat some food real quick, but it's time to get you up to speed as to what's been happening behind the scenes with this car. So Ian, good stuff. What happened? What do you see? What does your expert eye see?
Well, in my almost professional opinion, the tow arm, when Nick slid into the curb, the tow arm collapsed in on itself, because the factory versions of these are basically they adjust the tow arm to where it needs to be, and then there's a clamp that goes over it and it clamps it in place. So what happened is when Nick hit the curb, it collapsed the tow arm. So we're replacing this one, that one, and hopefully all the suspension components, and we'll be on our way.
Like you can see, there are marks from clamps holding this tow arm in place, and I mean, Ian very easily demonstrated to me earlier. All he had to do was pull it, and you can see that it definitely collapsed in on itself. So we're going to replace these with some parts from Godspeed. We'll show you in a second. We got some nice fancy Tein coilovers that we're going to stick on here just to kind of do the job, because this is the daily ride. We want it to be comfortable, and eventually we'll deal with that situation. Here are our new tow arms. These things are pretty. They come from Godspeed. I'm really excited to put these on just because A, they look amazing, they're in really nice shape, and they're adjustable. So if we go with a crazy offset, you can actually dial it for the car. That way it's not leaning too far in or out. And also if we have a similar situation happen again, well, it's more or less a collapsible setup, but not in the same sense as that one was. So I'm really excited to put these in. It's really nice quality. These were about 150 bucks together. I'm just stoked to finally see this Lexus live again. I know you guys probably are waiting for it to get up and rolling. I've been waiting even longer than you guys, trust me on that one. We've also got this nice fancy piece of hardware from Tein that we picked up. It's going to be our rear mounted strut bar. The car comes with one in the front, and since we're taking out the coils in the back of the car anyway, we're gonna go ahead and just slap on this new setup. It uses the stock hats, our Teins. We'll show you those once we get to that part of the build. But yeah, we're gonna definitely be putting these on. It'll help stabilize the rear of the car a little bit more. Who knows, maybe even help me to not slide. Or slide more controllably, I don't know. But either way, it's kind of funny how all the parts in this car though are turning out to be some form of red or white. Or in our case with the Tein coils, green. It's like Christmas around here. So after much ado, we did finally get this out. So one of our problems was when I struck the curb, not only did it send our tow arm in, it also completely bent the bottom of this. It's not like drastic on camera, but it's enough. Oh, okay, never mind. You can see that it's like, it's just, yeah, it's bad. That's why we got new coils for this, so that we can replace these nasty beat up ones. The difference though is we need this top hat section, so we're going to actually relieve the nut that's on the top, so we should be able to pull all this out. We have the spring tensioner on, so the tension's tight enough so we can remove it without getting shotgun blasted by giant spring cap. Let the dangerous fun begin. Woo! I think we're just going to say it on camera. We're actually about to use the impact wrench because the top of that has a bunch of rust on it, making it hard to get the nut broken. So we're breaking out the impact wrench. Do not try this at home, kids. Oh, so close. Oh, it's right there. It's at that point where it's just gonna let go.
So we have to keep tension on it.
So much for that idea. There we go. Now that we've got the stressful part of it done, you just have to ease the tension out of the spring and then you're good. The fun part is putting it all back together on there. We have our instruction manual. It's sitting there ever so comfortably on the ground. We're going to be taking the parts that you see right here, sinking them back inside of this, and then seating our new setup onto it. It's going to be pretty straightforward. If you're doing this at home, instruction manual is going to be your best option. Because, you know, two guys trying to bust this one side out in less than an hour, not exactly easy. All right, got it put back together. Now we just got to put it actually into the car. We will mention that this piece, from what we can tell, don't quote us on this, that guy right there from the OE setup does not actually need to go into it. Maybe that's their design. We just noticed that as soon as we pull that out, it all suddenly fits back together the way it's supposed to. We got ourselves a Dremel tool so we can actually cut out that bolt that is stuck. And now it's just time to try and finish it all today. It's been a long time coming to see this thing come to life. And I also would like to know how in the world that guy got on the inside of the car when it's completely sealed. That thing is open, yet he's somehow in there. How does this happen? So, while the camera was down charging, because stupid me forgot to charge it, we have the front shock in now, and it is considerably shorter. The stock one's like 21, I think, inches. This one is sitting at 19 and a change. So, hopefully that guy doesn't rub much, because otherwise we're gonna have to dial in some camber, and we don't necessarily want to do that, because otherwise we're gonna have to go for like a very, very thin sidewall stretch tire to the max look. Rears are already good to go. We just, like I said, got to cut this piece out so we can throw in our new shiny ones. It's really not that hard to do, right? Like, this is really straightforward. It's just really time consuming doing the whole hat system, because you got to take the top hats off of these, the stock ones, to throw onto the Tein shocks. It's time consuming, it is what it is, but for me it gives me somewhat of an OE style ride. I can also adjust the dampening on this. So my rears are going to be pretty tight because I like them nice and strong and stiff. The fronts, however, will be a little bit less stiff. I wanted to dial out some of the, I hate to say this, but Lexusness to the suspension. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
That floaty Lexus suspension. So here's hoping that that'll fix that, because that's really why we wanted the Teins on here too. The floaty suspension was not good for spirited driving, and yeah, it's been a fun night. Also, word of the wise, you need those. These are spring tensioners that allow you to take some of the tension out of the spring, or put it onto the spring, I should say, so you can compress it down and actually take the bolts off and not worry about the springs rocket shipping and potentially damaging something. Or
so installing these coils, installing is not as bad as taking out the old ones.
Uninstalling.
The old coils are kind of a pain to deal with, purely because they are nice and beefy, and your bottom collar will impact this. So what you have to do is get these boys here,
spring compressors.
Spring compressors, right? And compress the spring. What I noticed is that on the side closest
to the back end of the car,
right to the back of the car, is where you want to put the compressor, because you can compress this side of the spring, as sketchy as that sounds, but it allows you to compress the spring. You can drop your top hat and then take your bottom bolt out and pull it out. It'll fight you a little bit, but it's not going to be too bad. And then basically what you do is you just take it, rock it out through here, bring it out through here, please, because you have more play with your brake line.
Oh, and also
this boy.
One other thing too to mention is turn your wheel when you do this. So if you're trying to get the, like we did, driver's side, turn to the right. If you're trying to get your passenger, turn to the left, because it gives you more space to actually get the whole body of the shock out when you're trying to take it out or put it in.
Putting them in is a lot simpler than taking them out, because it literally just slips in. Slip it in under this, up in there. This will rotate to fit where you need it to fit, and just drop it in and send it home.
There you go. Well, because it is getting late, we're just going to go ahead and send it and just get everything bolted up, because it's going to be too dark for the camera to really see anything anyway. We'll obviously show the tow arm stuff once we get there, but as far as the fronts go, that's literally how that's done. So we're just going to go ahead, crack it all together, get her done, and then show you how to get the tow arms in, and then come back tomorrow to see how the alignment looks. And yeah, I'm really excited for this. We also need to get some spacers so that we can actually fit the fronts. The lip is just going to rub, and that's not good for beating. It's not good for the parts. It's just not good, period. That's mangled for one thing. We got it off. We used the Dremel to cut through, and we definitely cut into the bolt. But yeah, that looks to me as a bent one too. Am I the only one that sees that?
Yeah.
Like, hang on, I'll put the light off center. That's definitely a bent rod. No wonder why it didn't want to come off. Good thing we got that off. You want to show off? Here, let's show off the new one. The new arm is that guy. So you're basically gonna have to line it up to the one on the floor and then extend it out as needed. So those nuts right here are threads that allow us to tighten it together. And then of course these have nice, beautiful sides to them. So we can use a crescent wrench to adjust as needed. Real easy, real straightforward, just really time consuming getting the ball joint off. So we're back, it's the next day. We kind of ran out of time. We were finishing up the front at like 12:30 at night, so we decided to go home. And just looking at the stance now, like we picked definitely the right height because this is all perfect. Look at this. Boom! Look at that. Just nice and low, but not like crazy low. Like there's still room to move around in there. That is definitely way better than what it was.
Further back?
Oh yeah. We definitely collapsed the tow arm.
Yeah, because this was like right up here where it started to flare out.
Yeah, that's... Well, at least we now have a definite answer as to what happened to the other side. So over here, we've been slaving away trying to get things ready to roll. We're about to take and drop the shock. We just got to cut some of the trunk and the back out so we can actually drop the shock out of the back. But one thing I wanted to mention while we're under the hood, Tein recommends different dampening settings. These are adjustable dampeners. They have the little knob on top that you can spin and that will adjust it down. We've set ours up so that it's 7 clicks from the stiffest setting in the front and 6 clicks in the back. I want this front to be a little bit softer because the roads I drive on are relatively rough and we want the stiffness to really be back here to help with grip and with putting power down and things like that. So it's going to be definitely a stiffer ride, which is awesome. We want that. The floaty suspension that was in it before was just really quite unnerving when you're driving at higher speeds. So with that said, once we get the new shock in there, it's already set up for its proper dampening. It's going to be really nice. We also went and actually did it on Ian's car because we found out that Ian's car was on the softest settings possible.
Yeah, that may have been a problem.
That also probably is why your car bounced around like a bouncing ball. It's because it wasn't even using the shock body. It was just sitting there using the springs. So we've got everything done. We're now putting it all back together. It's really easy to install all this stuff. It's very straightforward. I mean, legitimately, had we had, you know, all the tools and parts we needed, how long do you think this would have taken us, bro? Like a couple hours at most?
Yeah.
So it's not a hard job to do. You know, you just got to be willing and able to sit and do it. Jack, look at this jack setup. My goodness. It's pretty level, pretty straight. Still definitely got some of that toe in, but you know what, it's fine. That's what the alignment shop is for. That front looks just so good. That's the side we did first. This side we did last. They're pretty even with each other now. And as far as rebound goes, that's pretty tight. Back end is already primed, so it's good to go. You know what that means, brother? It's time to ride, bro. It's time to move her out. See if we can move her for the first time. If I die, me and you can have it. Am I dragging something?
Yeah, I think that's the brake.
Wow, these haven't been really on the ground. It's straight, but I'm saying like the back side is definitely not compressed yet because you can feel it shifting back and forth.
Really?
Some of that could also be the toe being completely bunk, but like otherwise this thing feels really nice. I just got to get used to it, I guess, a little bit. Let them all settle in. That'll take a couple of days. It's with any coilover, it takes a couple days for them to really compress and sit at their final ride height. And I guess we'll find out what that looks like on this car by the end of the week. So yeah, I'm really stoked. 201,000 miles are on this car, and and its life is only just beginning. That's where it's at. All in all, these Teins are really comfortable just with the low speeds we've driven. We'll do a full proper test when we have our wheels and tires done and all of that. So stay tuned for that. It's coming soon. Haven't fully figured out what tires I'm gonna run because I gotta find the money to pay for those because I just paid for the Evo's tires and all of that. So yeah, all in all, I'm really happy with this. Thank you all for watching. God bless yous. We appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys liking and subbing to our stuff, our content. Otherwise, God bless y'all, and we'll see you next time. Peace! Alright, Ian's gonna try driving. This has become like the gimmick now. Can Ian drive a Lexus? Oh yeah, we definitely gotta fix that. Brake shield is what's making the noise. That's a good look. That's a great look right there. He's shaking his head like, ooh. Ooh, baby. Official thoughts?
Official thoughts? I want an IS 300.